With the game series going on as long as Kingdom Hearts has been, there are talks about remakes of old games within the newer style. Some people want it, some people don't. Honestly, I don't really care if we get it, but I'm not going to be mad if we do. Kingdom Hearts 1 holds up quite well despite some clunkiness here and there. I think there are games that need remakes more than others if we were ever to get one, but let's look into Kingdom Hearts 1 to see why people say we need it to be remade. Hey, did you know that most of you watching me aren't subscribed, but the 4% of you who are people who aren't on my most wanted list? Subscribe to be part of the union, and I'll call off the hit. Kingdom Hearts 1 was released in 2002 for the PS2, and it's been over 22 years at this point before anything we loved within this series was set in stone. Of course, it being the first ever in the series, there's a lot not established well. The combat, while fun, is slow compared to later games, and the way Limit's attack worked, it wasn't very well implemented. On the OG versions of both Kingdom Hearts and Kingdom Hearts Final Mix, the limits would appear at the bottom of the command menu, and summons would appear in the magic menu. In the HD version of PS3 onward, they made it where the summon menu was at the bottom and the limits showed up as a triangle prompt. Limits are distance based, so depending on how far you are from the enemy, the limit would change. Though, honestly, you probably shouldn't have them all equipped anyway. While in the original, this could have only been a me thing, but when the controller vibrated, it would shake the right stick and move the menu button down. But in the HD versions, I think it worked out pretty well, though there are still some things that weren't fixed in both versions. For one thing, with it being one of the earlier 3D games and the first game within the series, the camera has its problems. Like, I find it getting stuck often on things as if there was someone actually there getting stuck, but I don't remember it happening often or it being a huge problem, as it can fix itself unlike other games during this time when they were still trying to figure things out. The combat, again, while good for the time, can be slow and a bit repetitive, especially if you've played other action RPGs or even other Kingdom Hearts games. It may not be fair to compare the games that came out later, but I think that even if you haven't played other action RPGs, you can tell it's a bit clunky and repetitive. Mixing in with the combat would be the platforming. I think most can agree that the platforming in this game doesn't hold up. It's not god-awful, it works, but with how things feel within the controls, the platforming is... Okay, well, jumping feels off and heavy. Sometimes I accidentally climb something when I didn't want to, and sometimes the inputs I put in don't really work. Especially during the vine swing section of Deep Jungle. One other thing. I can't remember if there's another segment, but during the race with Riku, when you're using the zipline, you have to let go of the control stick, otherwise, oops! First few times though I always forget, so I have to reset my 0 out of 2 win streak. Not to mention there are treasures that can be missed, and while they didn't have important items, the fact that they can be missable is reason enough. It's kinda crazy. In both versions of Kingdom Hearts and Final Mix, there's a green chest with a protect chain on Destiny Islands, and if you fail to get it, you can never get it again unless you restart the game. In Kingdom Hearts 1 only, there's a red Trinity mark at Oogie's Manor that once defeated is just gone. It was moved in Final Mix so that you can get either before or after Boogie's fight, though I remember playing Final Mix on a PS2, that I could see the red mark but still couldn't get it to work. But that begs a question, if they do remake it, how will it be done? Well, one thing I know is that they'll most likely remake it in Unreal. So instead of trying to give out info like I know they're remaking it, wait until September 20th, 2030. Trust me, Kingdom Hearts will be real. I think I'll go into what I would want from a remake of the start of it all. Since I believe they would keep the game in Unreal Engine, I think they should fix up the graphics a bit. Don't get me wrong, Kingdom Hearts 3 looks amazing. However, I always thought the reveal trailer in 2013 for Kingdom Hearts 3 looked better. More specifically, the Destiny Islands portion. I just think the more cartoony art style fits Kingdom Hearts. However, with how the new Kingdom shader works, they could make it look cartoony like the one on the PS2. They could also use the old style like in Melody and Memories just for the sake of keeping the old style for the remake, but I don't see why they would. The next thing I would want fixed is basically how heavy the jumping controls can feel. Later down the line, we get Super Glide. It makes things a little easier to get around, but early to mid points are hard to go back on other playthroughs. If you ever played a game with tank controls, you might understand. It's just hard to get used to, especially when you play other games that have better feeling controls. When it comes to content within the game, I think Final Mix was basically the best when adding and fixing everything, so just use that as a basis and make a better feeling and looking game. Cause I think outside of that, the world exploration is the best in the series. While at times it was simple and others you can mess with the environment with items, magic, or just swinging the Keyblade. Just look at Wonderland. It's a whole world of secrets, and even then, you don't have to find them to get some of the chests if you try other methods. Then there are other worlds like in Hollow Bastion, you can freeze the bubbles. Bet no one in the whole universe knew about that. Crazy, right? You could also use Blizzara and Blizzarga. You can also use Blizzara and Blizzaga to take out the fire in Olympus to get some chests, or even the fireplace within Traverse Town. It doesn't do anything in Traverse Town, but it's still cool that you can do it. A few other examples I can think of is the science table in Deep Jungle where you can make items, the platform in Halloween Town that helps as a shortcut, and pretty much the Cave of Wonders. Having more missions and fights in the Coliseum could be fun, maybe a boss rush after you beat the entire game. You never know, it could be a fun but long challenge that could rival the Hades Cup. Then there's the dreaded gummy missions. In Kingdom Hearts 1, it's probably the worst variation of them in my opinion. But again, it's the first in the series. We should cut it some slack. Even still, they still can be too slow at times with the upgrades. So if I were to remake this game, I think we should take it in the direction of 2. Still have pathways, but be fun shootouts. 3s could work if they add extra stuff out into space, but just how they did it within the first game is just a bit too boring for my liking. Another small thing I would like to add to this game is getting all the Keyblades from a save file in New Game Plus, as well as the abilities. Just to make a quick way through the game again. Maybe even add Keyblade abilities to this version for a more versatile way to get more strategic. The one problem I could see them having is, of course, not having the rights to reuse Deep Jungle, as they don't really talk about Tarzan that much anymore, given that they couldn't secure the rights to it. While Disney can still make Tarzan stuff with their version, I think anyway, I don't know if they can work with Square to make another Tarzan world, unfortunately. What are your thoughts though? Do you think Square should remake Kingdom Hearts 1? Or is the one that we have fine? Whatever your answer is, be sure to let me know and everyone down below. Oh, of course, don't forget to subscribe for more discussions and stuff like this too. Be sure to hit the bell and like so I know you want more of it. Oops, there's my Twitter, quick go follow it, hurry! Thank you all for watching. See you when I see ya. And remember, may your heart be your guiding key.